And we're live. Welcome back to the Brave Podcast. So we're going to have an interesting episode tonight. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Angelo, aka Exploring with Angelo here on YouTube and other places as well. But yeah, my name is Angelo. Normally I go out ghost hunting and go to abandoned places and travel the world and, you know, do all that fun stuff. Tonight is going to be basically the sequel of our mind-blowing conspiracy theories episode. I had to say that very low just so that way YouTube doesn't pick it up in the first minute. YouTube, leave us alone. These are just theories. You don't have to agree or disagree with anything on here, and that goes for anybody on here as well. If you have something to comment, let us know down in the comment section below as well. But yeah, before we get into it, I'm going to introduce my co-host, Moshi.
Hey everybody, I'm Mohammed. On YouTube and Instagram, I am Moshi Yo. Tonight, I'm bringing back a very, very good, super best good guy friend of mine, just to solidify how great this guy is today. At work, once he walks into the office, he sees that we've got the lights dim in one part of the office because the person that's working there, she's got a headache and she's like, oh, my head. And he walks in and he's like, is it okay if I just give you a massage for like really quick for like a minute? And he heals her. She's like, Alex,
magic touch.
You've done it. You super.
He's making me shy. I'm turning all red.
Super best. My wife's nickname for you is super best guy. Alex, thank you for coming back to the podcast.
I don't even need an applause. Thank you. I'm really humbled. Yeah, I'm happy I was able to help Jennifer out. It was just, I've had a lot of tension and I've been broken in many different ways. So I've gone for therapy and a lot of it is just like Band-Aid solutions. But at the same time, you are able to release like a lot of the headaches that we get are muscle related. A lot of it is just because we're on our computers or cell phones all the time and you don't even notice like your head, like when you're on the computer, you're kind of
100%
looking at your screen or looking down. That creates tension just
right
closer to your neck. And depending on which side your dominant hand is on or your dominant foot, your body has a tendency to either lean on one side or the other. So that compounded or multiplied over many years is a recipe for getting
absolutely
broken.
Makes sense.
Even like the way our society is set up, for example, driving in your car, you're always tensing or flexing your right foot to give it gas. Say it's automatic, you're putting the gas with your left or putting the brake on. Even if you have a standard car and you're applying the clutch per se, the right one is like always extended. So that creates like your hip to be forward on your right side and your left side to compensate. So eventually over time, you're basically giving yourself like the hunchback of Notre Dame without even thinking about it. So that's why even like a lot of truck drivers, if you see them, their backs all look pretty screwed up. But it's even just because of how that's set up.
That's a good point. Nobody ever talks about that.
No.
So... Yeah. But it was really nice to help out Jennifer. It was cool. Like I went in there and then I touched the back of her neck and so she had like a knot up at the very top. Yeah. And usually when you feel it on one side, so it was like this side that was tense, it means that it's compensating for the other side. There's one side that's overcompensating and one side's the side that's really screwed up. Yeah. When you feel like the pain's on your left side, usually 9 times out of 10, it's actually your right side that's screwed up that you got to release.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is real.
This is some real.
This is 100% real. I feel that all the time, especially because I drive a lot and do a lot on like the computer and stuff. So a lot of times, like I'll be just like this, like massaging out the one knot that's causing, you know, all the tension and whatnot. So, but yeah, after the episode, then you can fix me too.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And just to put it out there, it's no promo for this type of product or whatnot, but those little spiky balls, like those hard ones, I literally just like put my back up against the wall and just like kind of let the ball drop, and then I'll roll myself up and down the wall. And I'm telling you, that is almost the equivalent of like having a home, like a chiropractor at home, right over there.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the human body wasn't made to sit or stay still, right? So
Absolutely.
naturally, we're supposed to get moving. So people out there, get moving. Don't sit still all day. Go out for a walk for like 30, 40 minutes at least.
You can watch this podcast while you're going for a jog too as well.
Right.
Just kind of like they got stuff on your watch these days, or with all this smart technology. Use it in a smart way.
I should also mention, now that you're saying that, other than YouTube, you can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
What a segue.
I love it. No, you should plug that. Right?
Yeah,
Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Rumble. As
Rumble.
well as get on Rumble.
Hey, listen,
as well.
Rumble's up and coming. It's
man.
the one uncensored.
I think they got a long way to go, but they'll be okay.
Absolutely.
They got the right idea when it comes to things like not censoring for the most part. Obviously, certain things need to be censored, violent, dangerous things.
Yeah, they haven't sold out yet.
Well, as far as we know, anyways. But yeah, I've heard a few interviews with the creator. He's actually Canadian. He's from Montreal. Really? Yeah, he's
excellent.
The CEO, creator of Rumble is actually from Montreal. He seems like a really good dude. The nice thing is that he works with a lot of like independent guys, like independent lawyers, like Ricky Law and Viva Fry. Viva Fry is also from Montreal. I think he lives in the U.S. now. I'm not really sure, but it's nice that they get input from like a variety of different places. So that way, the same thing that's kind of happening on other platforms, like YT is not happening on their platform as well, and giving people a different option depending on what you like to talk about. But yeah, apart from that, some would say it's a conspiracy theory. Who knows, right? And maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Here's a conspiracy theory. With getting back to just the massage or whatever this morning, don't forget it's also a transfer of energy too as well, right?
From the massager to the massager,
or whoever it is, right? So I'm interacting with her. So if I have, like I had really good energy this morning. Went in there. I don't mind sharing. Part of it's kind of like I go out with, or I wait till I'm charged and the cup is like more than half full. The cup is full, and then when I go out, I get to choose who I get to give a bit of that cup to.
Oh,
so then,
nice.
and don't forget, like, so when you're transferring, when you're, hey,
just make it an Instagram video.
So don't forget when you're touching somebody, you're interacting with their energy. You're giving so like a send and receive. You're exchanging energies is what I'm getting at, and you transferring that energy also helps. It's not only that it could be done as a benefit, it could also be done as a detriment. You know what I mean? If it's done in a malicious way, think about it like that. Like, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of vampires out there. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah, if you don't like somebody and you give them a really strong karate chop, right? I'll give you a massage, no problem. And you're just like digging your elbow into them all of a sudden. It's like, what the hell are you doing? No, stop it.
WWF styles. The Undertaker.
I remember once when I was in the Dominican, I got one of those deep tissue massages.
Oh, I want it.
Oh man, does it ever hurt?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's actually painful. Not to the point where it's like, gonna kill me or anything, but let me tell you, the day after, oh man, are you ever in pain after that? But then for like the next couple of weeks, you're like, I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I think they've released all the tension. And it was funny, this this short little Dominican woman, a little bit heavy set, and she's literally just putting all her
Does she
body
walk on you or no?
No, okay, not to that extent. But like they get up on like a stool or whatever, and they're just like digging in there with their elbows and stuff, and going into all the really deep spots that most of the time you would never get.
If you don't feel any pain, you're not going to feel any better.
Yeah,
sorry
no
to
pain,
put it
no
out
gain,
to people.
Right? So, but so tell us what's on your mind. I know you talked to Mo about a few things before the show.
Let's see where to start. Where do you
want to begin? I think
I say
I had
Mo. You pick.
You pick.
So the first one that I wrote down was something that's been in the news a little bit recently.
Okay.
Was what's been happening in Hawaii.
That's an interesting one. Yeah.
Anybody wearing the color blue? What's going on?
Nope, no blue today. The blue's on the wall, though. The blue's on the wall behind me. Look behind me.
The blue.
No, I'm just trying to find the appropriate blue.
Like a dark blue?
It's kind of like, you know, the recycling box type of blue. That recycling box, bro. Okay.
Yeah, we got
Isn't it coincidental that everything burned down over there in Hawaii except for things that
Oprah Winfrey's house?
No, well, no, hang on, I'll get to that. No, she bought on another island.
Okay.
That one apparently didn't have any fires whatsoever.
Oh, okay. It was spared. Yeah.
It totally was spared.
Oprah Winfrey's house was spared, and all the other celebrities.
No, she bought it. She bought it literally while this was happening.
Yeah.
But anyways, getting back to the color blue and anything with the color blue, and I'm talking about there were I saw vases or planters that were the color blue, or quite often they use them for those they're kind of like water jugs. All those completely pristine, like even the flowers in the flower pot were still not even burnt, but everything around it is burnt to a crisp. Like I'm talking about a Pop-Tart, you left it in that 7 or 9 and it came out charred.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it looks like. Literally, you could pull up footage of it. And I'm wondering, okay, so the color blue, how is it that everything else burnt down but this? Okay, so what, you know what's pretty funny? What is it that interacts kind of like that? Lasers.
Okay.
Laser, the way it works pretty much is with the laser technology, say it's used as like a ray gun or something like that, right? The laser will burn through every single color, white, yellow, red, but it won't burn blue. And if I recall correctly, it's because it's the opposite color in the color spectrum.
Okay.
So you know, lasers are red.
So it won't. So what you're saying is it won't target the color blue.
It'll burn everything else. You could, like, basically, if you had a laser, you could burn through every other color, but it won't affect the blue. So that, for me, is kind of like the explanation of what the hell happened in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So how did everything go on fire just all of a sudden? And I'm talking about everywhere. And there's so many other islands that it didn't affect at all. People could say, oh, it's just coincidence. It's climate change. Well, it seems like it was a lot more targeted than that. I don't know if you came across that plane that, like, the nose of it has a laser and they're able to just zap.
Okay.
I remember seeing something. I can't find it now.
Yeah, I know, like, these lasers and whatnot exist. I mean, who knows what kind of tech is out there, really? Right?
Yeah, in regards to, like,
idea.
military tech, there's all kinds of stuff.
So my question is, why though? Why would they target Hawaii?
Right now it's just a testing ground. And don't forget, like, right now right now we're in a climate crisis, so you need to have stuff that exemplify the extremeness of the climate. Let me remind everybody that last time we went into an ice age, or before we went into an ice age, the Earth had heated up 8 degrees hotter than what it is today. On average, it heats up, like, in a decade to like 100 years, it'll go up 0.5. So if it keeps on going like this, we probably have another few thousand years before it would actually reach that point where it would, like previously recorded, it had switched over. Like, I think a lot of the stuff that we had beforehand in regards to history it has to do with, I've been really interested in Graham Hancock's kind of take on the beginning of civilization, right? So he believes that during the Lower Dryas period, there was a cataclysmic event. So whether it be, was there a volcano that erupted and then boom, there was like a bunch of ash and I'm talking about like a massive explosion to the point where it sends the Earth into an ice age. Or was it a meteor or a comet that just came and struck the Earth? Imagine one goes and then boom, hits the ocean. forget about the tsunami that we experienced, and we're in Indonesia, and a whole bunch of different places. Like you had the wave that was astronomical, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about a wave that would be 200 meters tall. Like it would make any other wave that you've ever seen look like it's peanuts. And if you look, can you do me a favor? Can you pull up South America, like from Google Earth? I just want to look at it from
another
from afar.
thing. Another thing about like kind of regarding these wildfires that have been happening, that are obviously
is that what they're calling Maui? A wildfire?
Yeah. Well, if I think the reference of a wildfire is just a fire that gets out of control.
Oh, okay.
So they call it a wildfire.
Not necessarily
I think
natural.
If I could be wrong, but I think that's just the way the definition of the actual word itself.
Gotcha.
It could be obviously caused by man. It could be an accident or whatever it is. It could be climate change. It could be many things. It could be a lightning strike, right?
Yep.
And also to point out that they haven't really confirmed what it was. There was rumors that it was like an electrical fire, some power lines, or something like that.
Because there was the hydro, and they were saying we should sue the hydro. But okay, like
because there was hurricane level. I mean, I don't really think it's preposterous, but I mean,
think about it like this. Yeah. Okay, if I cut out the power, okay, say there's a hurricane coming. How about I turn off the power? And so this way, it'll avoid what happened. Complete BS, okay? Because if I turn off the power, now we have no way of communicating. Do you understand what I'm saying? So either what's the win in the situation?
Unless you have Starlink.
Beat me up, Scotty.
Right? We need some Starlink.
Beat me up, Elon.
We need that. They just got to make it a little bit cheaper. I've actually been looking at the Starlink because I think
$170 a month or something.
Well, you got to buy the actual unit, which is like a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For the house.
For what?
For the house?
Yeah, it's like a little like wireless modem thing, and I think you have to like plug it in or whatever. So they have them.
Thought about it when I moved to the sticks.
That's a good point, man.
They have. I mean, it would be perfect here because our internet sucks, right? We could do more live streams if we had better internet. It would be more. It could actually withstand it. Here, it's pretty basic because the building is old, right? So the internet's
there's always ways, my friend,
like a
to
20 upload speed, right? So, but anyways, past that, I've also heard that apparently iPhone has an emergency. So when you get the emergency alert on your phone, like let's say there's obviously an emergency, for
the
example,
Amber Alerts or
Amber Alerts, natural disasters, things like that. So like you said, because the power was out, all of the cell towers were out, so Google phones were not receiving alerts. So families were not receiving alerts that you need to evacuate now because there's a fire about to engulf your entire home, about to kill you. There was actually a family that they were lucky because they owned an iPhone. iPhone actually has the capability to connect to satellite. So, and that's under the emergency sequences, and only iPhone has that. So, benefit
I think they all have it. Like, don't be fooled. They're tracking all of us.
Well,
man.
I mean, but as far as I know, I don't think Google phones are capable of doing that. Like, it's an automatic thing that if the emergency alert does not come through on your Google phone, I'm not like really an Apple fan. I'm just saying.
You're talking about Android phones, right? That's what you're saying? Yeah.
Android phones.
They all have the capability.
I'm sure they have the capability. They're just not programmed to do it. But what the point is that iPhone does it automatically. And there was a family that didn't even know that, but they got an emergency alert on their phone that told them to evacuate right in the nick of time. Had they not gotten that alert because they had an iPhone, they would have probably died because their home was destroyed, from what I heard. But
see, back in the day, everybody just used to use the radio. And there were none of these issues.
Ham radios and stuff like that.
Whatever happened to
the radio?
Well, I mean, if the world ever ends, like if it's the apocalypse or like zombies
analog
or
everything
all over the. I mean, the zombies are already kind of all over the place, anyways. I mean, roam around Brampton long enough, everybody looks like a zombie.
Downtown anywhere.
Pretty much. Yeah, everybody kind of looks like a zombie. I say it all the time when I'm driving. I'm like, everybody just looks so aimless. Like everybody moves so slow. They drive slow, they walk slow. But it's like no purpose whatsoever.
That's what technology did, because like my generation,
so easy.
There was no Facebook, there was there was no internet. You know what I mean? It's,
I would have had to show up to your house and ask your mom if you're free to come and play or something.
You'd see where all the bikes are. Oh, they're at Mo's house.
Exactly.
Okay, that's where everybody is.
Exactly.
It's like there was none of that. Like I was growing up, everybody had a pager. That was the coolest thing. It was like.
Now everybody's got e-bikes. So you don't even pedal anymore. You just hit the throttle and you go. Which is a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
But I'm saying people are they live their lives like the younger generations these days. I don't associate myself with my with my online presence or who people perceive me to be. Like I am who I am, right? Whereas the kids these days. Like or even just society is so like
they're addicted to likes.
It's pretty much you're sucking the nipple of it's kind of like subconscious egotistical satisfaction that's going on in your brain if you really look at it, right? Like because it's you're posting stuff about yourself, so you're evaluating yourself based on people's perception or their interaction with that profile. Like I only go on social media when I'm taking a shit. Sorry, pardon my French.
I do the same thing.
It's like
I mean, I have like a specific morning routine. I drink like 14 espressos, and then I go take a giant number 2, and then while I'm doing my business, I'm there scrolling through Twitter and all
but
the
zombies are hooked on that. That's their food and fuel for like morning till night. So that's why people are in a zombie. I see people driving and they're in like I couldn't care less. Like I'll call somebody, but I got the Bluetooth and I'm driving. That's number one priority is getting point A to point B. People I was trying to get to the other line. Who cares? Brake first, stop at the light, and then answer your call. What's the worst thing that can happen? That you call them back? Like, I don't understand where people's head and priorities are these days. And what's with the left-hand lane huggers on the highway? Have you noticed that over here?
That's a Canadian thing. Okay,
totally Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian driving is nonsense. Like it just does not make any sense. There's no logic in how people drive here in Canada in comparison to the. I mean, I've literally driven from here all the way to the west coast of the United States, so I can validly compare. I've spent a lot of hours on the road in the United States, and it's just like obviously a well-known thing. The left lane is for passing only.
Bravo.
Right? And
thank you.
It's just common sense. But here there's no logic whatsoever.
There's no courtesy.
One thing that I've everybody wants to, everybody's in a big hurry for no reason whatsoever. You notice those people that, like, let's say you're in the right lane or whatever, or even in the left lane, let's say, and you're approaching a light and the light's already red, so we're slowing down, and those people are like getting angry, and then they go into the next lane and pass you only to get right next to you at the red light. You know what I do to those people? I give them a look and I start clapping.
I just smile, man. These days it's like, and I carry drumsticks in the car where I just start busting out.
So
I got no time to be negative for these people. It's like they're like, F off, have a good day.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Enjoy yourself.
No,
that's it.
You F off.
No, it's F off. Thank you. It's gotta go coming to America on them.
I don't know what it is though.
Kill them with kindness.
Like noticing like the style of driving in the U.S. except for New Jersey, everybody's an asshole in New Jersey. So I remember one time I was in the car and I'm in the right lane, and this is in New Jersey specifically on the highway. I'm in the right lane, doing the speed just up above the speed limit. It was probably like 60, so I was doing 65 miles, whatever. And there's this car and I can see him. He's like right on my ass. He's driving like erratically. He's honking. And I'm like, the fuck's this guy want? I'm in the right lane and the left lane was open. I'm like, go around. What's wrong with you? And he just goes around and he's like, keeps honking, gives me the finger. I'm like, New Jersey, man. New Jersey. That's just the way it is over there. I don't know what the problem. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, apart from New Jersey drivers and maybe some New York drivers, most people are just normal. Even I noticed the one thing, and because you always ask me like what I like about Pittsburgh, the courtesy when driving in Pittsburgh Pittsburgh. So a lot of like, if you're on the outskirts of town, obviously you have the 2 lanes, whatever. So let's say you stop and you're waiting to make a left. The car coming will stop, so that way you can make the left, and then they will start going.
That's pretty cool, man. Right? That's like what type of courtesy? I saw courtesy like that in the UK when it came to escalators.
Okay.
They will all
move to the right.
Yeah,
which is what you're well, technically that's what you're supposed to do. Escalators are not made so that way you can be extra lazy today. It's so that way you can get up the stairs faster.
Exactly.
Because you don't stop walking when you get on the escalator unless you have like a stroller or something, right? Or you're disabled or whatever it is. But apart from that, move to the right.
Literally, like the left part of the escalator is just for people going.
Yeah, it's the passing lane.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the passing lane on the escalator.
But the courtesy is, the courtesy is on point.
Exactly.
It's like
in some we don't
have that courtesy, elevator courtesy.
No, it doesn't exist.
They say sorry for everything, but then after that's quickly gone.
Yeah, exactly.
As quickly as you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So back to the younger generation and social media, because I was actually talking about this the other day, and I don't think people understand this yet. But the validation for people that comes from social media, that everybody's kind of stuck on, oh, how many likes did my post get today? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, for like, if you're like 12 years old, right? You're posting these pictures of yourself in the mirror, whatever, and you're obviously looking for that validation. You want to get more likes, right? And it's become, first of all, it doesn't do anything for you, right? For me on Instagram, I'm what you would call a social media influencer, I guess. I have enough maybe followers to say that, but like for me, I just like post something just because it's like fun, right? Like, oh, this was my my set of pictures from this trip or whatever it is, and I don't care. Maybe in the early stages I kind of used to care because I kind of had that mindset where you wanted to grow as a social media influencer, but it's causing these kids nowadays to kind of they have these, mental disabilities now. They have anxiety and depression. It's a lot of it because of this crap.
This shit. It's because all you're doing is thinking of this instead of.
It's crazy.
Like what's beautiful about this is you're on your own life journey and you're sharing it. You're bringing people along for the ride. Is the way what I see with with you. Right. It's the same thing with you when with your channel. These are things that you find really interesting that you're sharing your perspective, and other people would be like, yeah, you know what? Mo's right. You know what I mean? Or Angelo, fuck, like you're totally right. This place is gorgeous. Like now, or whatever the case may be, that you're allowing people in on your journeys. Whereas a lot of people, what they're thinking about is like, how can I get all this following, or how do I get these likes? Instead of really looking inside of themselves and asking themselves, what is it that I want to do? I think people don't know how to be alone. So this kind of fills that gap where you're not alone. Being alone is not a bad thing. That's how you find out more about yourself. And then in turn, you can utilize that. Like I think what's beautiful from everybody is that everybody's different. That the social media, and even prior to the internet, with Marshall McLuhan, with what he was talking about, like with this chaos that is created after an abundance of information is available. It was the same thing that happened with television prior to, like, I think it was Richard Nixon that made sure that everybody in America had a television. So what that allowed everybody to be connected. So in a time of need or disaster, instead of using the radio, at least everybody had television. JFK was the first celebritized type of president. And that's why everybody has this like romanticism with him. There's the tragedy of the story. Now we know with declassified documents and whatnot that it was pretty much he wanted to abolish the FBI, the CIA, and the DEA.
Hey, that sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Some orange man with weird hair wants to do something like that.
Yeah, no. But okay, with getting back to Donald Trump, like let's say Donald Trump, what's with all this impeachment on Donald Trump? And then I don't know if people remember, do people forget that Hillary Clinton she had a computer and then miraculously
the emails.
the actual computer. What happened? It burned or something?
Oh.
No, they
Or what happened?
they used a program that I think it was something along the lines of Bleach. It was called Bleach or something like that, and essentially it just deletes all the information and completely like. Well, the intention is to completely
It's like getting a hammer
bleach. Yeah. So a lot of people, so there was this misconception that they were saying that she literally poured bleach on her servers or whatever. That's not what happened. It was just the actual program.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to completely like terminate all the information that's on the servers.
Called Bleach Bit.
That's it.
And it was apparently her lawyers that did it.
Yeah, and so like you got this on the other side. Nobody really made a big stink about that. Nobody made a big stink about, say, Hunter Biden. Like they've been trying to make a big stink about it, but it kind of like because.
Well, let's be realistic. When it comes to the Democrats doing things, when it comes to them, they do more than the Republicans, right? So when it comes to things like this, so if the Democrats are after you, they will impeach you, they will arrest you, they will literally do everything in their power to shut you the fuck up. Whereas the Republicans, what do? Write strongly worded letters, right? And where do they get with that?
I think they both have they're all. I don't know, like it doesn't matter who they put in over there. You got to look at like the wolves that have been eating.
Yeah. The problem is, and these are the typical establishment types, right?
Yep.
They've been around forever. We're talking about like, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Mitch McConnells. These are the old dogs in politics that have been there forever. And majority of the politicians, whether it's in Congress, in the House, in the White House, majority of them are not good. There's maybe a handful of good that you can maybe think of off the top of your head.
The majority of them are all narcissistic.
And none of them are Democrats. I could tell you that much. None of the Democrats are generally good or have good ideas. But I find that more so on the Republican side, I would agree with them a lot more. They have better ideas. You can tell that, they're there for the purpose of not just being a politician and gaining power, but actually doing what they were supposed to do, which is serve the people. And majority of the times when it comes to politicians, you don't find that. I've been told many times, oh, you should have been a politician. And for what? Like, why would for the salary? Because they make a six-figure salary? That's not what I would do politics
if you do well in the corporate sector, the six-figure salary that they have is peanuts.
Yeah.
But in regards to the power, that's like, so that's what it, like, what are people doing with when they're in those shoes? Like the majority of the time they're saying that they're fixing things, but I really think we really need to gut the whole system, like, and start from top to bottom, just like completely gut it out completely.
So you mean like basically win the White House and destroy the FBI and the CIA and the DEA.
Well, that's why JFK is no longer here.
But if it was done, I wouldn't be opposed.
Hey, don't forget, the only reason why the White House is white is because it got burned down.
Yeah.
We said that on the last episode.
Okay, yeah. So it's just kind of like I don't know. I think the more interesting factor is like, even regardless of the politics, all this type of stuff, that and your sports, or whatever is going on, or even like a lot of it is just a fake facade to keep the everyday person occupied with junk, distracted instead of like focusing on what's important. It's kind of the chaos part of the indoctrination. So it's like we're indoctrinated here straight from when we're born. From the minute we're born, when you get your birth certificate, you're basically saying that you are a property of the country that where you're at. Then from that point forth, like if I remember right, there's like in regards to like your mortgage, the reason why it's like mortgage, like it's a contract of death, de la morte. You know what I mean? Like words that we use in English, if you actually break them down into like a Latin sense, you'll notice that the English language is people are casting spells.
Yeah.
Like you would, like the word convince. Convincere. So con is like to do like a
bad or
negative or malicious. Okay. Vincere is to win. So to win somebody over in a malicious way is to convince.
Oh,
so when you're saying, here, let me convince you of this, even if you're saying it in a nice way, when you're saying those words, you're actually...
in this word case, you're accessing a negative energy.
That's why even the word spelling, when you're spelling something in English, spell, you're casting a spell.
Okay, so here's how I pull it up. So what's up with the word mortgage? This is from the CE shop. The word mortgage comes from the old French word mortgage, which directly translates to dead pledge. The prefix of the word mort means dead, while the suffix gauge means pledge. Although the word sounds contract. A bit morbid, there is a reason for it. Between 1628 and 1644, Sir Edward Coke published a 4-part series of legal treatises called The Institutions of Laws of England, seen by the foundation document of common law. The writing has been cited in 70 different cases decided the Supreme Court of the United States, including the landmark case Roe v. Wade, referencing mortgage. Coke said, "And it seemeth that the cause why it is called mortgage is for that it is doubtful whether the feofer will pay at the day limited such sum or not. And if he doth not pay, then the land which is put in the pledge upon condition for the payment of the money is taken from him forever, and so dead to him upon condition. And if he doth not pay the money, that the pledge is dead as the tenant." Okay, so it's a little bit different than the way you described it, but it's like...
It's a contract of death,
yeah,
brother,
it's...
when it comes down to it. That's why...
in other words, mortgage deal is finished or dead when either the debt is paid or the payment fails. Okay, so... makes sense,
there's... What all I was trying to say is, in regards to the actual words that we use, they have a lot more meaning than what is in whatever dictionary or urban dictionary.
Yeah. Well, the English language is so weird, right? There, and there.
Yeah. Right? No, absolutely. And then, so for people that are coming from elsewhere, there's not really a lot of logic when it comes to the English language, but they want it that way. So then this way it's easy to like quote stuff and then also manipulate spoken speech. Getting back to the populace, if you keep the populace occupied, then they're not really seeing the bigger moves that are going on, right? So a lot of people aren't associating any of the governments spraying stuff in the sky with the change in whatever climate or some of the stuff that they're doing. Let me tell you that every single government is in on this. And they've pledged, like, this is every single government of the world is in on this. You don't like, and I think I said it in the last one, Johnson in the 1930s, he said that famous speech, "He who controls the weather will control the world." So it's been a long time since then. It's been almost 100 years. And trust me, technology has changed a lot. Like they got a weapon that they have in Antarctica that causes earthquakes on the other side of the world.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that actually.
So, and even in Antarctica, like there's so many fascinating things that are going on over there. So why is nobody really allowed over there? There's all these countries over there. It's because
you can go. You just need special permission.
They allow you in only certain sections of it. You can't be roaming around. You can't go over the ice wall. What's on the other side of the ice wall?
But
conspiracy theory.
But back to the wildfires. So more recently, we had new ones that were in Yellowknife. And I was talking to somebody about it, and they kind of brought it up, and they were like, "Why do you think there's all these wildfires in Yellowknife?" I'm like, "Fuck if I know. Like, tell me, please." Apparently, because Yellowknife is supposed to be like some very strategic point or area
with Russia, and the U.S.
It's really not like super close to Russia. So here, I'll bring up the map here.
No, but Russia's close to.
Yeah. So this is what we got. So here's Yellowknife right here. It's like this tiny little place. It's got one highway in and out, which I think is is this 3?
Yep.
It's like 3.
Yeah.
But that's the majority of the people in that area are concentrated over there.
Yeah.
So they're evacuating down to
waterway.
they're evacuating them to Fort McMurray, the
Yeah.
majority of them. Okay, but really what they're doing is getting rid of the majority of people that are up over there. So then this way they can do whatever military exercises.
Yeah.
Like Trudeau already committed to how many billions of dollars after the U.S. called us out and said, hey, you got to beef up your military. Like, not for anything. We've never been a military country. We're all about peacekeepers and that type of stuff. That kind of changed with what's his
World
name?
War II, really. We actually had at one point in time, I believe it was in the 80s, just prior to Pierre Trudeau, we actually had what was it? The second or third strongest military in the world by rank. So the U.S. was first, Canada was second or third, either behind or just ahead of the U.K., which is pretty phenomenal considering Canada is a very, very small country. But remember, Canada's got a lot of resources, right?
Interesting.
Now things have kind of changed where we're not really extracting as many resources because of, many political reasons, obviously. But apart from that, we are technically one of the, in terms of natural resources, Canada is one of the most powerful and rich countries in the world.
Yeah, U.S. is nothing, wouldn't be able to be the U.S. without Mexico and Canada's natural resources.
Yeah.
And
Texas has, to be fair, Texas has a lot of their own natural resources as well, right?
Yeah, but
Texas has one of the largest known supplies of oil in the world. And that's only what's known. Canada does as well. Canada has a lot of oil. The problem with Canada's oil is that it's very dirty because it comes from the sands. So in order to refine it, it is significantly more expensive, whereas Texas can drill the oil from the ocean floor and then refine it, and it's cheaper and it's cleaner. So Canadian oil, we have a lot of it, but we have a lot of problems with
But we
it,
have
right?
a lot of water. We have one-fifth of the world's water. We have
lithium deposits. We have massive lithium deposits.
Totally.
I think we're number one for natural gas.
Potash. We're the largest supplier of potash in the world.
Lumber. We're up there for lumber as well.
Absolutely.
Well, we were anyways, until most of it got burned by ray lasers in the sky or something. I don't know.
Even with the fires, don't forget, fires traditionally naturally happen, and it's not a bad thing for the forest or for the rehabilitation or the evolution of a forest, because when there's fire, don't forget, a lot of the microbes get recycled. That's like a lot of us, we have deficiencies right now because back in the day, our grandparents, everything was run off of coal before. When you burn, when you burn coal or when you're burning stuff, there's still some of the nutrients that are left inside. And even that, like all that ash was then recycled and put in the fields to help with agriculture. Then came pesticide, which is really, they did what they did in Vietnam, and then they're like, the world said, hey, you know what? No more Agent Orange. The same company decides to go, okay, we got billions and billions or millions of liters of this product. Okay, what can we do with it? Hey, you know what? Let's put it as fertilizer.
Yeah, you're talking about
pesticides.
Monsanto? The Monsanto stuff?
No, this is like pesticides.
I think that's part of it. Well, yeah, that's what Monsanto is pesticides. They use it on a lot of fields, and that's why things nowadays, like when you go to the grocery store, nothing's considered organic because it's all got pesticides, which come from Monsanto, right?
Well, Monsanto deals with the seeds, so they deal with the genetic manipulation.
The GMO type of stuff, right?
Exactly. Those seeds, which are like these steroid type of seeds, which, where we put our seeds, there's not going to be any weeds and not going to be any other, no insects are going to go and bite it. But then you have this like steroid type of genetically modified seed. When we go and we eat that organic matter, it's no longer organic because it's been manipulated. So now your body identifies it as synthetic. It's kind of like, can I pull out the Irish sea moss?
Yeah, please.
Okay, like this.
Yeah, he shows up to the podcast studio with a bag.
This bag. It was dark outside, so I'm like, why does this guy have a big bag of weed with him?
No, it's not weed. But here, look, let me show you this. Let me just pull this out. Okay, so this is Irish sea moss. And like the white part on it.
Does it come from Ireland? Is that why it's called Irish sea moss?
No, this one's actually from St. Lucia. The salt, like this, the white part's the salt still from the ocean.
Okay.
And really, what you do is you basically put this, you soak it in water for like 15, 20 minutes, and then you strain it and you put it in a blender. Mm-hmm. You blend it up, and you add that to your teas and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And that, like, it's kind of like, it turns it into kind of like a soft gel. And this is some of the most nutritious stuff in the world in regards to like cell rejuvenation or like Mother Nature has everything we need. Pharma's got you on the nipple or sucking on the nipple,
right? Why do you got to grind things up when you can just take this pill?
That's how they sold
it. But the synthetic version of it, in order for nature can't be patented. So in order for pharma to put together that pill, they always got to add some extra stuff in there. Yeah. Now the problem is that extra stuff that they put in there, that's how they get their patent. Yeah. But is that good for you? So for me, knowing what the natural remedy is really important, and that's how over generations and generations indigenous people from all over the world, that's how they survived. So that's even how our great grandparents or great grandparents or however way down the line. So in the end, I think this type of stuff is really important. It's really important to like the FDA, the Food and Drug Association, that is supposed to be helping us out. I'm almost positive I have, I'm pretty sure I got it on my phone. Let me see if I was able to transfer it over.
What is it?
Okay, what it is, it's there's 195 substances, or sorry,
banned products list.
Yeah, but what they are, they're natural. So they're looking to get rid of like ginger, Chinese rhubarb, dandelion, anything really that
dandelion,
and anything really that you can traditionally has cured anybody. So all naturopathic remedies.
So hang on, they want to ban dandelion from being sold like in a grocery store?
Yeah, or anybody to pick it. Kind of like in some South American countries, you're not allowed to collect the rainwater because the government's got to make money off the rainwater.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so, I heard even from the other day, I don't know if this is technically true, but apparently in Florida, so when the oranges, because there's a lot of oranges that grow in Florida, apparently if they fall, like on the road, you're not actually allowed to, I don't know if this is true, you can fact check me, whatever.
I think I heard this before too.
But yeah, apparently you're not allowed to pick it's an offense to pick the oranges. I know in Haiti, they do the same thing. In Haiti, you're not allowed to pick fruit. This was years ago. I don't know if this still applies today, but it probably does because Haiti's pretty messed up. But apparently you're not allowed to pick fruit off of trees, like naturally grown fruits. And so what the locals will do is they will set fire to the trees. And then once all the fruit falls off, then they didn't pick it. It fell off. What are you talking about? I mean, they probably changed the law after that.
No, but you got to...
Just stuff like that, yeah.
Resilience. You can't break the rules, but you can bend them.
That's crazy, though, because dandelion is like, I mean, we're Italian, so I'm going to assume your parents, grandparents, they probably used to go and pick dandelion.
Cicoria.
Cicoria. And bring it home, and they would just cook it because it was just in abundance.
We have Cicoria coffee at the office.
Oh yeah,
really?
We do, yeah.
Tomorrow I'm coming in bright and early.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
What's his name, bro? Yeah.
I've never heard of Cicoria coffee. That's
Ricardo Giovanni. Anyways, it's okay. We'll deal with it tomorrow.
But yeah, that's kind of crazy. I know. Even here too, my dad actually was talking about this. He was telling me I'd have to get him to send me what he was talking about. But apparently, the government of Canada is trying to pass a bill. I don't know if the bill passed, or they were trying to pass a bill, which would ultimately, so you know these like natural like grocery stores, like
Whole Foods or whatever,
Foods and stuff like that. So what they want to do is they want to make it more challenging for these type of grocery stores to actually do business.
Absolutely,
right?
It's not only them; it's even the practitioners. Like
it's wild, man.
So absolutely the holistic nurse practitioners, like anybody on that holistic sense, all the naturopaths, pretty much with this new bill, the one that you're referring to. it's giving them major restrictions. So they're pushing back. But until did anybody even see this in the news?
No.
Exactly, because they don't want anybody even catching wind of it. And even if people made a big stink about it, if all they got to do is not acknowledge it, and then even the majority, so all it is, as long as the majority doesn't know, then they don't know.
Yeah,
that's what makes this podcast so special with Angelo and Mo over here. Is they're giving you guys news that, unfortunately,
thanks to people like Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you a massage later too.
The special massage.
Dun, 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 dun.
But yeah, man, no more chicoria for nonna, unfortunately, if they make it illegal. But I think it was something to do with the licensing. They were trying to complicate and make it very expensive to get licensing to be able to sell certain products, right?
Absolutely.
Like certain what would be classified as, like, superfood type of products, right?
And that even with the practitioners, you can't claim that you're able to help them. Like, for example, naturopath could say, hey, listen, this will help you. If you have diabetes, this can help you. You're not allowed to make those claims anymore based on these. So there's no way of you even telling your client how you're able to help them, hence not being able to assist any clients. It's basically like putting people in a corner is really what's happening, unfortunately. And a bunch of governments are using this as a tactical way to allow pharma to be the only solution.
Yeah. So there was there was something you asked us to bring up.
It was Google Maps.
YAL1 took off. What is this? This is the laser plane. That was the one before,
thingy?
Let me see.
Yeah. So it took off from Edwards Air Force Base. I'll try and zoom in.
The plane with the laser on the front.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the one. That's the one that I was talking about.
Yeah, so it says the YAL1 took off from Edwards Air Force Base and fired its high-energy laser while flying over California high desert. The laser was fired into an onboard calorimeter, which captured the beam and measured its power. So this was just like something that they tested at some point in time, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so then listen, when you go and you create all that haze over the cities and you put all that cloud cover, because you got ones that are seeding clouds, you got other times where they're spraying aluminum and chromium for different reasons, or nanobots or whatever the hell they're spraying up there now these days. So think about it like this. If you go and you create this cloud cover, whatever's happening above, nobody gets to see. So the military or the governments can do whatever it is that they're doing up there, and nobody sees.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there. And even with the ones that you do see up there, every time they are spraying, it's never anything, like, if I recall correctly, commercial planes are only able to fly up to a certain height, and then anything above that is only military. If I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I have
I don't know. I think a lot of planes can't even really fly that high anyways, as high as those types
absolutely.
of planes.
None of those Cessna or anything like that. They're not built to sustain that pressure.
Yeah.
Did you bring up that Google Earth? You know how I was talking about
South
that
America?
giant? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
what are we looking for here?
Okay, so go into damn it, where are my glasses?
Go down to South America.
Yeah, I am in South America. I'm in Mexico.
Down,
Nicaragua.
down.
Okay, I can see.
Is Mexico technically South America?
Isn't
it central?
No,
I think
it's
central.
North. It's North America.
Yeah.
Mexico is considered
it is
North America.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna go to South America. You're gonna be looking
One of us.
Down.
Do you know what country we're looking for?
Okay, over here.
I think this is Brazil.
Exactly, but you're in Google Earth. Go further back. Zoom out. There you go. Hang on. We're in South America.
And this is going back to what you were talking about with the volcano.
Yeah, so either a comet hit or an asteroid, and say there was like a massive wave, like a tsunami.
Yeah.
Okay, this wave was so big that you can see, like, on here, and like in Central America and South America, you're able to see the ripples. I found them. So basically, when you go close to the shore, you have the tide that's coming out and then receding. It allows for those ripples to be there, and they usually are like, I don't know, centimeter tall by, I don't know, 2-3 centimeters wide. Yep. Over here, you're able to see them, and they're like, those hills are 20 20 to 40 feet tall and 40 to 50 feet wide.
You can see that on Google Maps? On Google Earth?
Earth. So if I recall correctly, let's go to let's see, where was it? Peru. Go to Peru. Zoom in on Peru, which is your top left
Top
over
left.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Zoom in a little bit over there. Let's see over there. And
Like near the coastline kind of thing?
yeah, but you'll see, like, actually, no, you know what? Let's go further up. Let's go to California, because it should be like a lot.
Well, California is like all the way over here.
Yeah. Okay, because it went over the whole world, like almost the whole world. You could see, okay, so right there, you could see them. Go into Nevada over there, around over Nevada.
Well, Nevada's not coast, so.
Yeah, but okay, so if you had
you're saying
if you had a wave that was 200 meters tall, okay, like you can see.
Okay, so just to clarify, remember that this all used to be part of the ocean at one point, all the way up to Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it was
used
part
to
of,
be underwater.
Well, it used to be the glaciers that separated and then created all the canyons are all basically the glaciers that are ripping through. As they're melting, ripping through the ground and creating those caverns.
Yeah.
Like, but with those hills, and I'll get back to you. What's crazy is that you can imagine, like, say you had this massive rock. Let's just say that it was an asteroid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it created that impact, and you had this giant wave, and the wave was so big that when it went over, like, it created those ripples. You're able to see them, just from being that far up. Then if you think about it, like, so every single, whether it's in the Catholic Bible or the Christian Bible, the Torah or the fudge, what is it? Torah, there's the Torah.
Which one are we talking about?
Or the Quran.
Yeah.
Or like everybody talks about, there's a flood story.
Mm-hmm.
There's a flood story, or there's even like a mud flood. Like if you really think about it, what happens if you have a big wave and it went over, say, like an entire continent, and then it keeps on going, and all of a sudden it hits the Middle East, and the Middle East is all sand. When you mix water with sand, what do you get? Mud.
Yeah.
So then when I look at Petra, for example, and everybody's like, oh, they stole, like, you know, they carved it into the stone. Like, no, there was like, that's the only part that didn't get covered from the mud slide that's still there. And then it cooked underneath the sun, and that's why everything's hard. You know, if you really look at it, like a bunch of the mountains that we have are just cut trees or mushrooms. Giant, like massive, like part of Colombia, some of the mountains over there are just cut trees. And I'm talking about like megalithic trees. Like there was one giant tree sticking out from this like little planet.
Yeah.
And then when that tree got cut, you have all these little pine trees, kind of like the ones that are behind you over here. And they're remnants of this one giant version of it. And it's the same thing with the reptiles that we have right now. You know, you can see the dinosaurs in those little guys, that little lizard, that little iguana, that little whatever you want to call it. Like, yeah, the closest thing that we have to a dinosaur is like the Komodo dragon, or you know, you want to get some real dinosaurs, just look at alligators and crocs, and you have sharks that are still from, but like a great white shark is a beast, but you know, like compared to like the megalodons,
not even close.
It's like a little you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, even if you go to BC, they have a lot of massively tall trees. The what are they called?
The sequoia?
No, they're not sequoias. They're pines, but they're like mega pines. There's a certain name for it. For some reason, it's just skipping my mind at the moment. But yeah, like, so just to kind of show you that a lot of parts of North America were all one. So this is a place that I've been to. It's called White Sands National Park. It's in New Mexico.
Lovely.
It's literally all like the purest white sand. Like, it looks like snow.
Oof.
It's so white, and
Is there?
Beautiful.
Do you know? Is there?
This used to be the ocean, so this is what's called gypsum, right? So you're driving through. This is literally all.
So it's
you
all
see.
salt. There's salt and all kinds of remnants of shells.
Yeah,
like broken shells that create that color.
I'm sure all the shells are probably long gone at this point, just because it's been probably thousands of years of it sitting there. Or at one point they actually were trying to move the sand, like somebody wanted to buy it and move it and use it for different places. If they built a resort, they would add the sand and make a fake beach, and they said no, we're gonna make this a national park.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So they managed to save it. So
Yeah.
I think there was a casino or hotel or something that wanted to build there and they wouldn't let them. But yeah, if you go to in that way, it's it's so cool because all the mountains, like you said, they all used to be, or like I said, they all used to be the bottom of the ocean, right?
Yep.
You go to Nevada and you got the I think it's called Red Rock National Park. If you go to Sedona or the Grand Canyon, all of that is all remnants of what it was hundreds of thousands of years ago until the ocean receded into what it is now, essentially. So it's kind of really.
Did
really
I talk
cool
about
to-
that the Egyptians were in the Grand Canyon on the last one?
I don't think so.
Oh no,
I don't
think
know.
so.
No.
No.
Okay, so they
Please.
found hieroglyphs and legit sarcophagus and all kinds of different things in the Grand Canyon, and then the government went there and closed it up and basically it's no, sorry, this is closed off to
I
the
think
public.
I've heard
and,
of. I
and
think
they
I've
took
heard
out
of
all the
something
stuff
like
that was
that
over
before.
there. So they're the
one-
Egyptians are not necessarily only from Egypt.
Yeah.
It's if you really go back. Okay, so the Egyptians, and I know I'm going to get a lot of slack from this. I don't think the Romans built the aqueducts. I don't think the Egyptians built the pyramids. I don't even think the Incas built Machu Picchu. They all found it. So it's kind of like a dog that goes there and takes a piss and says, mine. Okay. So it's kind of, okay. So just because technologically speaking, they did not have the adequate resources or even technology or even know-how in order to do so. So if the Egyptians built the pyramids, they did hieroglyphs and talked about and explained everything on the pyramids. So they have hieroglyphs about everything except for how they built them. Okay, just to put it there. Okay, so, and not only that, the purpose of the pyramids is not as a burial chamber for the pharaohs, and there was only, I think, 1 or 2 of the actual pyramids that were used for that. So I think they found them. They knew that there was a higher purpose to these, and they became kind of like a religious, not a religious, but just kind of like to believe in something bigger than yourself. So they associate those characteristics of that advanced civilization to their power, like to themselves. They grandfather those characteristics, and so this way the people associate that grandiosity to their grandiosity.
Right.
So it's like I don't know if it was Ramses or whatever. Anyways, in the end, the Egyptians, the Egyptians built it. So for example, in the Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, there's an 80 ton or 80,000, oh sorry, what is it? 80 ton rock or 80,000 ton rock? What is it? It's
big.
It's huge. Like I'm talking about, like you would need maybe 4 to 6 modern day cranes in order to pick this puppy up, and it's put down in the middle of the pyramid with absolute precision. I'm talking.
Are you
about
talking about the cap? Or on the inside?
It's on the inside. It goes across. It's kind of like goes across right, like the middle of the pyramid.
So it's been confirmed. Like modern science has confirmed that this thing is part of this.
Oh yeah,
It's-
it's absolutely.
It's 25 to 80 tons each above the king's chamber, the largest granite stones in the pyramid. Yeah.
So like those, how many cranes, modern day cranes, with all the technology that we have right now?
Yeah.
Let's just be logical. You know what I mean? So if we can't even do it right now, or we could just barely do it with the technology we have, what technology did the Egyptians have back then where they were able to do this? Okay.
Maybe giants.
It could be the giants, but I believe that there's evidence that shows that there was a more advanced civilization. Even with the pyramids are not only in Egypt, they're all over the place. Like look at Angkor Wat in Cambodia. That one's a beautiful, beautiful like exemplification of bring it up, Mo, over here. Like, not that the pyramids over there in Giza aren't beautiful. They got, how about the ones in Mexico, like with the Mayan civilization? Yeah. So there's pyramids all over the world. So really, it's not just the Egyptians that created this, but Egyptologists would like you to believe that, and they're not willing to change the story. Mm-hmm. So that's why people like Graham Hancock have been getting a lot of pushback with that light. And I kind of, for me, for example, with archaeology, when they found Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, then it brought back, you have these modernized or these high technology needed pieces that are found 10,000 or it's 9,600 BC. Okay, that rewrites history. When they find the Green Emerald tablets, and the Green Emerald tablets have information talking about, for example, the flood. And I told you, every single religion has the flood. So really, if you go back in time, and it's kind of like you follow where the story is the same for everybody, right?
Yeah.
From the Green Emerald tablets, it ended up going to the Sumerians. From the Sumerians, then you have like different parts of like the middle of the equator kept on spreading, and then the stories kind of spread, and somebody liked it a little bit more like this, somebody liked it a little bit more like that. But all it was selling of the faith and exploitation of people. Like, so it's just, what are you doing with, we've only gotten here as humanity by working together. Now, we can work together based on these people telling us what to do, mm-hmm. or we can get together and we could work together for something really positive. Like, I would love the world. Like, it's so cool for people to be bad these days. It's so much harder to be good. Mm-hmm. Okay? So why isn't being good or doing things that are good for humanity or doing good for your people only associated with things that are good with their family? Like, come on, let's stop living this crock of shit and let's live the best life that we have. Because right now, time is of the essence. Time and health are the two things that you'll never get back. So if they got us chasing money all they want, this is a fake facade that they want us chasing. Money doesn't run you. I know you, bro. I could even throw you $1 million, but if it's something that you morally don't feel that it's good, you're gonna say, F no, I'm not gonna do that over my dead body. Same thing with you, Mo. Yep. Same thing with me. Yep. Absolutely. So like the truth is, like, people need to understand, like, this is how they flex and they exercise their power on us. And then what is money? Even the whole system that we have right now, this whole indoctrination system, all came from the Nazis. Okay, our school system came from the Nazis. And what I mean by that is, during Nazi Germany, they were having problems with enrollment. So how did they fix this? They fixed this with, hey, let's get them while they're young and teach them to follow orders. Hence, the majority of our scholastic system here is all teaching kids to be subordinate and to listen to orders. Mm-hmm. Instead of you being like, hunter-gatherer or a good person of your tribe, or like, so right. They've demasculated the male, okay? They've made the woman in charge of all the spending and all they got it. So the majority of advertising and shopping is all, and the majority of commercials are all targeted towards women. They feel that they need to look a certain way in order for guys to like them, or whatever the case may be. They've completely, they're destroying the idea of what family is now these days by, I don't know where to start. Angelo, you're a champion at this. You could just pick it out of a hat. Like right now,
the nuclear families destroyed. The idea of it anyway.
Absolutely. With everything that they're doing right now in regards to...
They're trying to tell you that having a family, having children is bad, because now they're clapping their hands for these strong, independent women who are saying, fuck that. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to sit here in my pool and I'm going to get drunk and fat all day long, right? I'm going to be unhappy, but at least I got everything I ever wanted, right?
Yeah.
Except for family and children, right? Which when you talk to people, even if they never wanted children initially and then they ended up having them, I find most of those people, I mean, a lot of people in passing as a joke will say, don't have children, don't get married, don't have children.
It's the best thing that can happen to somebody. Yeah. It's like if you, or even if you're able to be an uncle or an aunt or something, then it's happening to you vicariously. Like that's a beautiful, like love that you won't get anywhere else. And it's actually really nice to see that other chapter, you know, like did you hear about that lady that their kid identifies as being a cat?
Yeah.
So then the mother,
there's been multiple.
No, and the mother brought
they brought them to the vet.
They brought them to the vet.
And the vet said,
we talked
you guys
about
the last show,
oh,
the one before that or
dude,
something.
it's like, has the world lost their mind?
They wanted them to actually be treated as if they were a legitimate feline.
Good on that vet for standing up and saying, like, listen, anything biologically, okay, your kid is not a cat.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I cannot perform any procedures on your kid, even though they think that they're a cat.
Well, they're not a doctor, like a human doctor,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, they could have been sued for one. Had
easily,
most likely something probably would have gone wrong.
But that mother posted that with the hope that that guy would get backlash or that
because people are insane now, and I'm sure that there were people who were cheering her on, like, you go girl, right? You tell that veterinarian
I'm homeschooling my kid
here, right? Yeah, I know. I think I like the idea of maybe moving into things like pods, which are more community based, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of has an agreement, you know, who's teaching the kids math one day, who's teaching the kids, you know, how to read, write, and, you know, things like that. And everybody kind of works together. I'm having
Alex teach my kids how to find fungus,
okay.
the mushrooms,
I think
the berries. Yeah.
I think mushrooms are gonna save the world, man. Like, to be honest with you, there's nothing else that breaks down plastic and petroleum. Yeah. So mycelium and mushrooms will save the world.
Eat more mushrooms, basically, right?
Well, you got to understand, the ones that they sell at the grocery stores, a lot of the nutritious factor of it is already gone.
Sure.
You know, so like there's nothing better.
Why is that? Why is the nutritious factor gone after?
Like any other organism, when it's out in the wild, in order for it to flower or in order for it to continue, it has to survive the elements, has to survive. And so, for example, you ever let's take the strawberries. You go to the grocery store. How big's the strawberry? Show me the size. And Mo, can you or somebody?
Well, it depends. I mean, they vary really.
Give me a range.
Are you talking about like the big ass strawberries?
Right. What's the smallest size?
Unnatural, and then there's some that are like obviously
exactly.
Like
a real strawberry is about name big. It's just kind of like that. Nothing, you know. But you get these monstrosities like. Okay.
Yeah, it's
that's not
like
a real
quadberry or
that's
something.
not a real strawberry. The nutritiousness of that strawberry has been stripped of it, and your body knows that. That's why even though you're getting the strawberry, it tastes bland. Secondly, your body is able to understand this has been genetically modified, and then it identifies it as something synthetic. So your body doesn't process it properly, and it rejects it. That's why
it's these items are losing their nutritiousness.
Absolutely,
based on how they're grown.
Absolutely,
because they're GMO type of products, right?
There's that aspect. Even asparagus, you get asparagus. You get the ones at the grocery stores. They're like tall like this, fat. You ever seen wild asparagus, dude? It's a little thin thing like this. You go, you pick a few of those, and they're so flavorful. They're so rich.
So since we know that there's problems with grocery store products, which I think is pretty much a given, how do we solve the problem? Like, what
you got to grow your own stuff.
Yeah.
Like, even if you have you're a participant in this concrete jungle called the city, and that's where you live, you can still utilize whatever it is, whether you have a balcony or you have, and just grow. You could do vertical gardens. Vertical gardens are very popular. Like, it's essentially taking like a wall like this, and you're basically going up the wall. You got ones that are like the plants are upside down. So, like, in regards to space, there's ways of utilizing the space, and if everybody grows their own stuff, then really you're taking away the power from. Like, that's what I loved about Italy. Italy decided to ban. like the lab meat. Did you hear about like all the laboratory meat that they're making right now?
The Beyond stuff, Beyond Meat stuff.
Well, Beyond Meat is different. Beyond Meat is like
soy. Basically.
Exactly, soy based.
Yeah.
That stuff is so bad for you. Like anybody who's
soy in general is horrible for you. That's where people, a lot of estrogen comes. Yeah. That's why a lot of men are they have
lower sperm count
and
man boobs.
Stuff like that, and they get fatter. Women are getting bigger because of stuff like that. Where it's like.
Yeah, you're screwing up with people's hormones.
Yeah, soybean.
So then the lab-grown meat is literally like fake meat.
Yeah, it was never actually alive.
Real meat.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. No, it's real meat, but they just like they have it's sort of like a chemistry way of growing the meat. It's kind of like have you ever heard
yeast
remember years ago they were talking about how KFC, the chicken was never actually like the chickens were never alive. They never clucked or roamed around and did their chickeny things. They just were grown like sort of like a test tube type of animal, and then all of a sudden they just turned into they grew them into like these big giant chicken pieces. They were never actually alive, and then right away they just processed the meat and put it out to market essentially.
That's
now in Canada. They've actually passed the bill, and we're going to see a lot more of this stuff in grocery stores. And it's kind of weird that people are kind of like cheering, like not getting pissed off about the fact
nobody
that
cares.
Stuff,
it's like as if it's okay. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. That's
everybody has that attitude.
The exact same attitude.
What do you mean? What are you gonna do?
It's
pretty soon you're not gonna be eating any real food. Like if everybody doesn't say anything, what's gonna happen?
It's just like here in Canada, all milk is pasteurized. You cannot buy it. Is illegal.
It's illegal
to sell
to
raw milk, which is actually good for you.
Totally
right?
good
like
for
if you were to drink it literally straight from the cow, is actually beneficial to you. Versus all this pasteurized, where they add all the sugars and the flavorings, and they give it that white color, which is not even actually white. Because if you've seen raw milk, it's not really white. It's more like almost like a slight off-white, creamy kind of color.
That little what's it called? When it's fermenting or before it ferments, like that is that culture is basically kind of like kombucha, or what do they call it? Those kombucha,
something like that.
Or even what is it? Kefir.
I've heard that. Kefir.
All that type of stuff. That's that microculture in there is naturally in. Like in stuff like that, it's even in baby's milk and like human baby's milk. Like talking about pregnancies and that type of stuff.
Yeah,
you heard about that scientist in Hawaii that they shut down his stuff. Like basically, he was looking at the interaction between dolphins and pregnant women, and like the most amazing stuff would happen. Like the dolphin would go close to the mother, would identify right away that the mother was pregnant, and it would start doing sonar like that.
Whoa, dude, that was so good.
Yeah, you did that really well. Do that again.
Amazing.
Do you talk to the dolphin? Does the dolphin talk to you?
Dolphin whisperer. We got the dolphin whisperer here.
And so the dolphin, not only did they do sonar to the baby's or the mother's belly, but then they would do kind of like in a ritual type of way, because not only did it do it to the first mother, but they did this. They had 120 mothers that participated in the study. The dolphins did the exact same thing. They would go do the sonar, then they would spin around. Let's say this is the mother. They would swim around and create kind of like a vortex, and then just swim off. And the vortex would kind of like, and so when the babies were born, there was not one miscarriage. Not one miscarriage. That's huge, dude. Out of 120, that's like statistically impossible. Not only that, no SIDS, no... all the babies learned how to walk faster than regular babies, talk faster than regular babies, and they were basically like gifted students. Government shut them down. This is in Hawaii too. I wonder if the test facility is on the island where we had these fires. Who knows?
Could be. You never really know, right? But yeah, man, I don't know. They're out there doing a lot of weird, insidious things, and destroying our food and our culture, and making people fat and unhappy. And Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that we need to
wake up as a culture, and come together and just remember what it is to be good.
I feel like a lot of people are nowadays. Like, there's a lot more people paying attention, especially because of COVID. Like, COVID was kind of like a blessing in disguise
to a lot of people,
right?
Yeah,
to a lot of people, because it was a horrible time for a lot of people, right?
But they found themselves mentally, in their heart and in their soul.
People started questioning a lot of things. Like, I remember when it first went down, I was like, okay, we'll give them the benefit of a doubt, but something doesn't sound right here. They're showing us these videos of people falling in the middle of the street in China. Oh yeah. I haven't seen not one. We know it's here in North America, but not one single person I've noticed has been documented as randomly collapsing like they are in China. So what's happening?
Well, don't forget over there, like in regards to all the 5G towers going up, now with all the metals that are in whether you've ingested them through food, through the water system, or whatever the case may be. Just think about this. If you go and you end up heating up metal, what ends up happening? It heats up. It gets really hot. So wherever those metals are that are concentrated in your body, now they're creating a hole in that organ or in whatever it is. And a bunch of people are going to die of internal bleeding.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense.
It's like, I think that's what the plan is. I don't know if you heard about Putin. Putin said, forget about all these 5G towers. See you later. And he took them all down. Yeah.
I don't know, man. For me personally, I don't trust a lot of the information that even comes out of either Russia or Ukraine. They kind of both suck. Respectively, because they're both crooks and liars and tyrants.
Ukraine
at the end of the day.
Ukraine, let me remind everybody, was the most corrupt place in the world.
Yes.
Leading up to before there was this war.
However,
and they became saviors.
So is Russia. So
guaranteed.
Let's not forget that. Oh, yeah. And because I feel like a lot of times, like so a lot of times you have like certain independent reporters or whatever who question a lot of the things about the whole Russia Ukraine thing, and I feel like automatically, as soon as you even say something, somebody's like, "Oh, you're defending Russia. You're defending Russia." I'm like, "No,
or
dude,
Ukraine,
I get into this conversation with people all the time because they're always like, "Oh, Ukraine took out another MiG fighter," or whatever the fuck people keep saying, and I'm like, first of all, I don't care because the whole war is just dumb to begin with. Yeah. This thing should have been stopped straight from the beginning.
Well, they did stop it originally. Putin went there and he signed something until the U.S. went there. It's like, no, Ukraine, don't sign it.
Right.
Don't sign that.
But that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. And then when I kind of point out that fact, they're like, oh, you're everything you say about it, whenever you kind of like look at it from both sides respectively, and in my opinion, they're just both idiots, right? There's a lot of dumb people who keep also kind of siding with Russia, and they keep looking at all these things that Russia are doing, and
there's no right person in war.
It's just
there's no good person in war. Let me remind everybody.
They're both just stupid. Like, Russia is just like a fucked up country. Okay,
Kiev is the beginning of Russia as we know it. Like the Russian state, or like
I mean, they've been fighting.
I'm saying the beginning of like that whole dynasty. I think started. Kiev was originally like Constantinopolis of that dynasty, dude. Like, and it's like, so to think that Kiev is not part of Russian culture or Russian history is just like denying the existence of like the origins of it. And then it just so happens to be in a place that is called Ukraine these days. So is it Ukrainian, or is it like, there's so many, is Israel like part of Palestine, or is it Israel? Like, me personally, Judaism starts in Ethiopia, so I don't even know why there's so much importance on Israel. Like, I would think that Ethiopia would be that place.
I don't know. That's
we're getting
Israel,
too deep.
I don't really know. Yeah, Israel, I'm not really like kind of
versed in. But the world is so beautiful. Like, the truth is, we're all cousins. We all came. Everybody's mixed. Like, I don't know one person that's not mixed. What I mean by that, even like, what is purebred? Purebred in regards to animals is something that you're able to trace back 10 generations. Now, okay, say with humans, like my origins, or as far as I know, I'm Italian on both sides.
Yeah.
You know, but like when I look at my eyes, let's be honest, Mo.
Beautiful eyes.
They're deep set eyes. It's very indicative of, say, like Arabic.
Sure.
It's much more common than Italian, you know, like having deep set eyes like that. So part of me thinks, am I Italian? You know what I mean? Then after the more research I did on, say, like being Italian, and then the Romans, the Romans did a lot of invading, but they also got invaded. Like if you're coming from Africa or the Middle East or wherever it is that you're coming, you're coming to invade Europe, you're going through either Greece or you're going through southern Italy. Hello.
Yeah. You know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to do a My Heritage test with Angelo's link.
No, I would love to. No, I'm off the grid, dude. No. These guys, they're not going to find me.
Do you really think he's going to go and give us DNA to some random company joking. Off the internet?
Yeah.
There's no way. Good luck trying to get it.
Yeah. But if you guys out there are not scared of giving your DNA away, I guess go and check out My Heritage and use my code. I don't remember what it was. I think it was Angelo. I don't know. Try it out. See if it works.
If not, then send an email or
exactly.
leave a comment, and we'll be happy to provide you the right code.
Let's take a 10-minute break and then come right back because I got to pee and grab another beer. And then, we will continue because we have another interesting topic that I really, really wanted to discuss. So this one's the big one.
Yeah.
Right, we'll be back in a moment.
Pee break.
And we're back. Everybody feeling good?
Yeah.
Feeling better? Got a breath of fresh air. And alrighty. So I guess the last topic, because you got to go in like half an hour, so this one could be a little bit extensive. So is there, you mentioned something called the Green Emerald tablets?
Yes.
What is that exactly?
So the Green Emerald tablets, if I'm not mistaken, they found them in Turkey.
Okay.
And there's the Epic of Gilgamesh, there's I think Odin. There's a bunch of.
So what you're saying is they're tablets that have stories.
The original stories. They're pre-Sumerian too. So if you, just the date of them brings them back to like say close to 10,000 before Christ. Mm-hmm. So it kind of rewrites history as we know it religiously, culturally, in regards to even the cultures and the dynasties that proceeded past that date. And so it really, our understanding of where we came from as humans changes. Like I really believe that after this lower Dryas period cataclysmic event, if there was this ice age that was brought onto it, then what happens from there? Okay, so there's we needed to go underground, or basically be in a place where we were kind of sheltered from the elements till things kind of changed and it became more available for us to move around and have the rest of the world to be accessible. It's not to say that outside in those places people didn't there weren't humans that were cultivating or that weren't populating those specific areas. So what ended up happening, a lot of like old ancient knowledge in regards to, say, farming, in the Green Emerald tablets, there's the Anunnaki, if I remember right. What was the guy's name? But he has striking similarities to the Egyptian god. The Egyptian god, the one where he's got the long face. His name is
Horus. Ra.
No,
I'm gonna say every single one I know. Anubis.
So he's striking similarities to Anubis in regards to like the facial features. Yeah. And what was interesting about this Anunnaki, so he never considered himself a god. He considered himself a son of Atlantis, is how he referred to himself. So it was really a humble way of basically saying that, he comes from a different, an advanced civilization. Whereas the other Anunnaki cousins of and sisters and family of this individual, they refer to themselves as gods. So a lot of our perception of what gods are basically people like us. So in the Green Emerald tablets, what's great is there's a female, and they mix that female with human, like the primates over here, and that's Adu, which is like Adam, was formed, but they weren't able to do, like they needed a woman. So like Eve, if I understood correctly, if I remember right in the readings, was basically, so like we're descendants of alien, like half alien, half kind of like not Neanderthal man, but it's kind of along those lines. It's whatever the primitive culture was. So the Anunnaki came here in order to mine minerals for their civilization. At a certain point, they're like, why are we doing this? Why don't we create a civilization to do the harvesting for us? Hence where we came from. So then you have, like, there's the stories of the Nephilim, if I'm saying that correctly, which are the giants. So Epic of Gilgamesh, if you see Gilgamesh has a picture of a lion where he's kind of like, bear hugging, like giving him a chokehold, essentially. And we all know the size of a lion. Like if you look up a male lion, they're anywhere between, 300 to 500 pounds, 550 pounds, like a grown lion. So imagine somebody with the size of that person would have to be much bigger than, say, like even Andre the Giant hugging a lion doesn't compare to that type of size ratio. So I'm saying there were people that were a lot bigger. Those people back in the day were destroyers of man, but also liberators of man. Like we have stories of giants even in the Bible, for example, with David and Goliath. So giants were never perceived, like it's more of a mythical character, but there's nothing mythical about it, because historically we found giant reptiles, we found giant fish, we found giant birds. What makes us think there weren't giant humans too as well? It's very egotistical of us as humans to think that we're really that special, that we didn't have different influence and evolution and mixing. Like people say that we came from monkeys. I think that the monkeys came from us, mixing with like apes and stuff like that, and then there's that offspring. That's why they have that. They're so genetically, their DNA is so close to ours. Not that I endorse bestiality or anything of that nature.
But someone did something.
Somewhere along the line.
Somebody did something and, changed the course of evolution for those animals.
But the Green Emerald tablets have everything in there that basically fill in the gaps. Like even in the real story, like the original Bible, there were many more things in there than there are in the present Bible right now. So it's not like our current Bible isn't accurate. They're just,
there's different versions, right?
Yeah, and if you were able to get one from the 1800s, it's very different than that is right now. Let alone that if you got one from the 1500s, all of a sudden it's like, what the? Like it's almost like a completely different story. And as you keep on going further and further back, now all of a sudden you're seeing, holy smokes, there's been so much change, and there's been so many things that have been taken out. Like in the what's it called? Ulium Galish?
What's that?
It's one of the Green Emerald tablets. So over there, for example,
okay, so where are these Green Emerald tablets like right now? Do they have them somewhere, or
I hope the Smithsonian Museum hasn't gotten a hold of them to check out their authenticity, because then we'll never see them again. But I think they were found in Turkey. Okay. So now, are they in Turkey? That is a very good question. I'm not sure exactly where they're at. You're able to view the Green Emerald tablets online. They even have translators directly on there. So you could go through there and just read the stuff without knowing the glyphs. So it's actually quite beautiful in having that access to information. Now, what you're able to derive from there, I really beg everybody to just go there and just kind of read it for yourself, because you'll see, like for example, in the Green Emerald tablets, there's like Jesus. His name is not Jesus in the Green Emerald tablets. It's Yeshua. So there's
Yeshua specifically is, what's his name was saying that? Sebastian. Yeshua was the Aramaic version of Jesus, meaning God saves or something like that.
Yeah, so Aramaic and was pre-Sumerian.
Exactly.
And wasn't it's post-Sumerian.
Okay.
Sumerian is before that. And these are part of a civilization that was pre-Sumerian. So it's basically the knowledge gets passed along to the successors or whoever won the battles per se, right? But in regards to what's beautiful about this is throughout the sands of time, throughout whatever's happened in history, regardless of whatever wars, and regardless what happened in terms of cataclysmic events, we have blatant visual evidence that there was a more advanced civilization. And even in the Green Emerald tablets, there's a lot of like being spiritually connected. Like you're made of the same elements of the universe. The universe itself is made of I think it's like 60 odd watt particles, or so it could be hydrogen, carbon. We're made of the exact same elements. When like in the Bible it says God is within all of us, or God is with you, it really is, because we're made of the same elements. Like even with us,
carbon for the most part, carbon, hydrogen dioxide, right?
Water. Exactly. Yeah. We're 70% water. The earth too, it's 70% water, 30% landmass. Same thing with us. The majority, if you look at us underneath a microscope, you'll just see a bunch of electrons that are moving. But right now in this dimension, you're just seeing my finger. So if you're able to connect with, and that's where there's the misconception with religion. Before, we were taught to be connected with the world. Whereas right now, there's a huge emphasis on God being this absolute and this being. Whereas really, the universe is God, and water, for example, is God, and the sun, okay, or is the bigger being, and the universe is within us. We're made of the same elements, so we are the universe. So in accordance to say like quantum physics, we could be living one parallel of many parallels, or many dimensions. Right now we call this the third dimension. Because I told you, if we look under a microscope, this finger is made up of a bunch of atoms that are moving around. So how's my finger staying still? We're perceiving it to be still, but we're actually energy that's always in constant motion. So if we're made up, and we're energy that's in constant motion, we're also made in regards to like vibration and resonance. We are vibrating too. So we could choose to vibrate in a positive way or in a negative way. Let me put it like this. When you go outside tonight and you look at the night sky, you see the majority of it's all darkness. It's so easy to fit in and just be part of the darkness. But how many stars do you see out? Not as many. They don't occupy as much space, but it's a lot harder to be a shining star than it is to be so what I say is be a shining star, and don't, be the darkness. Be positive, and don't try to convince anybody of anything. Just, speak the good word, and that positivity will resonate. When I went, it was me being positive that helped Jennifer, and I was able to give her that. She has to be willing to receive that too. It's a two-way street.
Sure.
So, and it's the same thing with energy. So like some of the words that you guys say on this podcast are beautiful, because you're going to inspire those people to be better versions of themselves. That's a positive use of the word.
That's beautiful.
We all have that power, and we only have limited time. So choose those conversations and words wisely.
Beautiful message.
I'd agree. So I was going to ask.
Green Emerald tablets. Let's go back. I don't know. Whatever you want.
I definitely want to research that more.
There's a guy named Billy Carson. Billy Carson. Billy Carson is
the guy that wrote the book. Okay.
Billy Carson. He's written many books, but in terms of he's been a great resource in regards to like uncovering a lot of the stuff that's in the Green Emerald tablets. He's a great advocate of the untold story and the rewritten history that is very evident once you read. If you read something that is, I don't know. Okay, like we're Italian, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people think that
I don't know.
Italians. Are we? Yeah, it's true. Okay. Let's not go down the rabbit hole. Let's assume we're Italian.
Yeah.
Okay. And we weren't lied to. So pasta is something that's really important. A lot of people think that Italians invented pasta. Wrong.
No,
the Chinese invented the noodles.
Yeah.
The Italians perfected it in the sense where
we did technically they did invent pasta, because pasta is kind of different from noodles. It's made differently, different ingredients, and then plus you add the sauce, which makes it the pasta.
True.
Unless of course you're plain and you just have it with oil or butter or whatever, which is just boring and weird. But
but what I'm saying is with perfecting it, I meant there's how many noodles in the like say in the Asian cuisine. I think there's the Shanghai noodles. There's the thin ones, the fusilli or what. Yeah. In the end, there's like a total of 8 of them or 6 of them. Okay, there's over like 100 pastas, different varieties of pastas from Italy. So in the end, that's what I mean by, okay, so the perception is that pasta came from Italy, but so that's what I'm trying to say. If you find out, once people know that, they'll look at the origins of pasta in a different way. It's the same thing that I'm saying about religion right now and the history that we know. If the history we know was written and the majority of those books only go back 2,000, 3,000 years, and now I'm talking to you about something that was found 9,600 before Christ. So 9,600 plus, 2023? You do the math. We're at like 11,000 and going on to 12,000. So what I'm saying is that story, if they're saying that back then, okay, how was it invented 3,000 years ago? If the Antarctica was found, in the 1960s or in the 1930s or whatever it was that they say that it was found, then how is it on the maps? How is it on historical maps from the 1400s if they've never supposedly been to Antarctica? There's somebody that's lying in the history books, and you know what I mean? So what I'm saying
the first time.
Yeah, history is always written by the victors and you got to see what is their intention on that. Like, why, for example, do we still credit Thomas Edison with the creation of electricity when it's blatantly Nikola Tesla? Why does North America still have that? But it's just because history is always written by the victors, right? And in this case, Thomas Edison, he's American. It's not that Tesla spent a lot of time in the U.S., but he was, I think, Yugoslavian, Croatian.
I think so, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And I don't know. There's an incredible amount of information that just doesn't surface. It's kind of like we found out that King Tut, you know what I mean, using MRI machines or that type of stuff, that he had a problem with his foot, and that's why the kid died young. What? That was never written in the, Egyptian history.
Yeah.
Right.
Where was it written? You know what I mean? It was like,
I think they studied it, and then that's what's kind of assumed, right? I think he had like some sort of, they said that he may have had some sort of like accident or something, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he cut his foot and got a bad infection, and who knows? Right?
Could have been diabetes back in the day. You know what I mean?
It's exactly. Who knows? Maybe he had some sort of disorder that he's born with. Nobody really knows, right? To be fair, neither Nikola Tesla or Thomas Edison invented electricity. They just figured out how to harness the power of electricity.
It's very true.
Just to clarify.
Absolutely. And they even claimed that Tesla was talking with like aliens. I don't know if you heard about this type of stuff with some of
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I meant to watch the movie. Obviously, the movie probably won't talk about that side, but I know there's a movie. I downloaded it a while ago, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds pretty interesting."
I'm totally gonna watch it before the next podcast.
I never really had a chance to. Yeah, we should all watch the movie,
come back,
and then just like come back and compare.
That'd be super exciting.
There's a whole bunch of like these random like movies that nobody ever really talks about. I don't know if anybody here saw Oppenheimer yet. I haven't had a chance to see it, but I heard it was really good, and it's supposed to like tell a lot of like the history about nuclear weapons and stuff like that, which would be interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
There's to go over
the story of Admiral Byrd. I don't know if you heard about it. When he goes, basically, he did an expedition after the Second World War. Showed up with 3,000 people to Antarctica. Basically, go there and secure it.
Yeah.
Hitler had a base that was over there, so supposedly he went over there. He was flying, surveying. He ended up seeing an opening, went into kind of this opening, and then he found this kind of like inner earth, and he saw there was a woolly mammoth over there. There was a forest, that tropical, and then all of a sudden it was kind of like they had their own sun that was over there. And at a certain point, basically, he lost control of his aircraft. It got basically like there was a beam or some sort of
okay, now I know which story you're talking about.
So basically they landed the plane, and they gave him shit about, or they gave him they told him to go back and tell your country or tell humanity that we know what you did with dropping the atomic bombs. Don't let it happen again.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's ever talked about that beforehand, but that's a quite interesting story. And with him, he wasn't allowed to talk about this. And how did this information come out? He had a journal. The journal got confiscated by the I don't know if it was FBI or CIA, but he kept a second journal. So it wasn't until he died and his son ended up finding the journal that then these stories started coming out.
Right. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about the story. Some people have claimed to have like debunked the story and whatever, but who knows? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was so long ago. I mean, if
these conspiracy theories.
Like, these goddamn tinfoil wearing hat people and we're everybody
flat earthers.
Crazy. Yeah, you damn flat earthers out there. You're all crazy.
It's okay. I'm one of them. No, not flat earther.
Not a flat earther. Okay, that's the funny part about like
you had to like, hey, just so everyone knows, I'm not a flat earther.
No, I do see the validity in a lot of it, and
I get it,
but it doesn't explain the inner earth. Like for example, we know that you're able to go deep underground, and we know from
exactly. So if you believe in the concept of there being an inner earth, then how could it just be totally flat? Unless it's just like a thick like crust, or I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe it's multi-level, kind of like, you know, when you're in you're playing Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, and you flip from one level and you could jump high enough and you're in another level.
Right.
Yeah.
It just
thank you for that reference.
It makes me laugh though, because whenever you talk to like most conspiracy theorists or truth seekers or whatever people want to call themselves, they're always like, yeah, I'm a truth seeker, or I believe in all these crazy theories or whatever that majority of people don't. And it's like the one that majority of them I find are like, nope, not that flat earth shit. I ain't down with that shit.
There's a lot of things that make sense in terms of like the way,
I guess,
like a concave mirror or a convex mirror, the way or that ocular aspect of it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if I don't know let me see if I can make this work. Let's see. Okay, hang on. Let me see my hang on. Where's my eye? So you see how?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
you see my eye?
Yeah.
It looks so much smaller. So this is the beauty of perception.
Yeah. Well, that's like demagnifying it, right?
Exactly.
But magnifying would be the opposite side of the lens, right?
So, but I'm saying, like with all those any airplane pilot that you see over there, everything. Why does the sky look flat? There's never, you know, when they show that picture that it's curved, it's the lens that's taking it that is creating that curve. So it could be. There's no.
Well, there is one way to completely debunk the entire flat Earth theory. Have your friend drive a few hundred kilometers away, shoot a flare into the air, and then see if your friend can see the flare, right? If he can't see the flare, if you're in like Saskatchewan or something where it's totally flat and there's nothing impeding the vision, if you cannot see the flare, then that clearly proves that that the flat earth theory doesn't exist.
Sure.
But because the earth is so big and it's just like so subtly curved, that's pretty obvious why.
Yeah, they're saying it's kind of like you're going around, like say there's a circle, okay? The earth is like this. When the planes are going around, like in the middle, you got the Arctic. Antarctica is like the rim around it, which is basically like the old maps, or even when we're looking at a map, you got, it's showing it kind of like it's not a cross section, but like it's like half of it just opened up and just kind of stretched over. Whereas the old maps show it, Antarctica is kind of like the outside part. And you got the middle, which is the Arctic. So they're saying when you're flying and you're going from Canada, which is like, say on this side, you're kind of like going, and then landing on this side, and you're in, I don't know, Germany.
Yeah. Well, no, you'd be, you only go that way if you're going to Asia. If you're going to Europe, you would go east. So,
but I'm saying like all the, like every, in regards to all the flight, it still makes sense where, how is it that we're going this way or going that way? Then there's the case of like, say, Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong admitted him, or what is it? No, Buzz Lightning. What's his name?
Buzz
Aldrin.
But okay, wasn't it him that he admitted to like a grade schooler that they never went up to space? And
I think it was the way he said it was perceived incorrectly. I think it was something along those lines.
Really?
I remember he said, I don't remember specifically what he said, so I'm not going to say yes or no.
Did you see that mouse? Did you see the mouse that when they were out in space, there was that astronaut that was talking about, you know what I mean, like they were saying something and they were looking, basically there's a window of that's showing out in space, and then you see a mouse running across. Did you see that?
No.
I gotta send this one to you. It's amazing. You have a mouse that's running across like the spaceship. So you have it when the spaceship is taking off and it's going into outer orbit. So we gotta wear, us humans gotta wear the helmet, gotta wear the suit and everything. Okay, but a mouse that with no protection, no nothing, is able to go out of the outer atmosphere. It doesn't harm it whatsoever, and it's out there.
So if you're in the ship, technically you wouldn't need to wear a spacesuit. The spacesuit is more just for
they're
outside. So it's crawling on the outside.
They're crawling on the outside, and this is what's amazing, because green screen can tell a fantastic story.
When it comes to that video, it's, I don't even know. I've looked at that before.
All of
NASA,
it's
pretty obvious.
All
like
of
some
NASA.
shit looks pretty weird and suspicious and whatnot, but whatever.
You know, the reason why we haven't gone to the dark side of the moon is because it's like what? The moon controls the oceans. Okay. Is it too far-fetched to perceive it as like a source of energy and life over here? So it's not, some people have called it the Death Star. For me, it's just it's a lunar base for aliens. We're all part aliens, you know? Like they're starting to come out with it now that, you know, not all the alien crafts that people have said are necessarily aliens. Some of them are government. They call them UADs, I think. UAPs. Yeah. You know, UFO, it's alien. UAP, it's American or whatever. It's like,
who knows, man?
Man. Don't worry. But like the beautiful thing about history is, the more you get further away from it, the more people don't care and they allow the stuff to get out. You know, it's like I find it a lot more interesting that no one's allowed to go check out the Titanic now anymore, except if you're Chinese or Russian. But if you're from anywhere else in the world, they're going to deny your permits.
But they tried to, though.
No, that's why those people, that submarine went down, so now they have an excuse not to allow anybody to go.
Is that what's going on now?
Did you hear about on the actual Titanic? There were the two or three people, very special people that were the richest people
They were
in the
against
US.
signing the Federal Reserve Act.
I think we talked about it last time.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that this podcast. Look up the other one and then watch this one
I
again.
brought it up a few times anyway, so people are well aware of that. But yeah, I didn't know. Well, I think it's been assumed that they're going to try and start enforcing people to not be able to go down to go see the Titanic.
Absolutely,
unless
because
it's
you're going to
authorized by them. Or
well, you're going to see that maybe there wasn't. Okay, when have you ever heard of metal cutting? Ice cutting metal.
Well, I don't know. I assume if you smash into a large solid piece of glacier, essentially,
You
at a
have
high
stainless
speed.
steel. Have you ever seen stainless steel? I want an ice axe
But it
that
wasn't
can
made.
cut
It
through.
wasn't made of stainless steel. It was made of iron. The ship was made of iron.
Even of iron.
Yeah.
Grab
She can still sink, Rose.
She can get me that.
Oh my god.
Get me that Thor's hammer made out of ice that is able to go through iron ore. You know what I mean? It's not really logical, and scientifically speaking, it's impossible. So really, what is it? When you're going down there, maybe they might find, who knows, a few explosions.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? A few things.
Who
It's kind of
knows?
like with 9/11 with the towers. We know now that there were multiple explosions that happened on
Well,
the
we
bottom
don't.
floors.
Just to be fair, YouTube, this is just a theory. We do not know if there were explosions. There are theories that it may have been possible.
Angelo is correct.
It is a theory.
I
just
have
to
no
clarify.
evidence. No,
Yeah. So nobody. There was
Those-
only one organization in the world, maybe multiple, but they all belong under the same umbrella called the United States of America. They're the ones who really know what happened on that day, and there's been a lot of interesting stuff coming out too.
Well, they put Bin Laden. They trained them, to fight against the Russians. Like you have Senior Bush that made a deal with the Saudi Bin Laden group, made them some of the richest people in the world. It's like, hey, you only sell your gas or your petroleum in US dollar, and I'll make you the richest family or one of the richest families in the world. That's basically how it went. And then to think that George Bush Sr. was going to go after one of their kids. Come on, guys. Like, think about what's going on. It's a lot of politics and smoke and mirrors, So even like right now, you got BRICS that's being set up, right? BRICS is basically Russia and China and a whole bunch of other countries saying, hey, you know what, we're going to either come up and make our own currency and have it backed by gold, or we're all going back to, we want to go back to being backed by gold. So what that means is as soon as that goes through, the US dollar is going to plummet drastically, which also means the Canadian dollar is going to get screwed. And this is their way of kind of demolishing democracy to a certain degree. Getting back to the BRICS. Who did BRICS beforehand, before it was even called BRICS or anything like that? Gaddafi turned around to like all his African brothers in different countries, and he said basically like, hey, you don't need the US, you don't need to sell it in US dollars. We're the ones that have all the minerals, we have all the resources. What are you doing? And is it so far-fetched that
he
he's
wanted to create their own financial system, right?
Yeah.
That was separate from
So
everybody else's.
they got rid of him really quick?
Because Libya,
Apparently, or I think so. Like, it's,
Libya at that time was actually considered the richest African nation.
Yep.
I think, which would have been, the valuation was based on their natural resources, which most of it was probably oil, because they had a ton of it. And not to say, obviously, YouTube again, not to say that Gaddafi was a good human being. He was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He was a tyrant. He was very, very sadistic and evil, the things that he used to do to his own people.
For sure.
And then he used to take a lot of credit for all the positive things that he did do. But it's kind of like the same thing with Hitler, right?
So Hitler too.
Hitler, did good things, quote unquote, for his people to help the country advance, but he was a bad person, right?
And did a lot of bad things to other people. Like it's, and it's not a yin and yang.
Yeah,
like I think that's just like yang. Like it's just, I don't know.
Well, Gaddafi was a communist at the end of the day, right? So we all know communism sucks.
Then you had you had Bin Laden, which was a religious extremist. You had say Saddam Hussein, which is a military extremist, you know, like a religious extremist and military extremist, if you put them in a room, they're not going to be friends.
Yeah, of course.
So the idea that
there's going to be a pissing contest at the end of the day, right? So who's better than who?
The U.S. went into Iraq. I don't know. I heard because they found the Ark of the Covenant over there and that type of stuff. But these are all conspiracy theories.
So what is the Ark of the Covenant? Explain that.
Ark of the Covenant is basically traditionally in a lot of the great books or the Bibles and the religious books, like the Ark of the Covenant is basically it's like it created it's like an engine that creates power, like infinite power. It's like a perpetual engine energy source.
Yeah.
So even like I think the Ark of the Covenant is basically what goes in what we refer to as the sarcophagus box in the Great Pyramid of Giza. There's also supposed to be, with those pyramids, there's supposed to be a conductor up at the top. There was gold caps that were stolen in order for they're power stations, dude. If you look underneath, the Nile River used to have the waterways that used to come in and bring the water at the bottom. You also had mercury, like a pool of mercury. With those two, it's like a giant battery. And then the energy would shoot up. That's how they have the laser that comes out. And all these other pyramids were just, it's kind of like Tesla's tower, you know, and it was just transferring the energy through the ether, harnessing it and grounding it. So when you went into the pyramid, or even still to this day, because it doesn't work, but the resonance that the system creates, because it's kind of like the solfeggio,
frequencies,
the frequencies where it's kind of like what's it called, like you could see the image in a snail, you know, the snail, it looks like the infinity symbol where it keeps
the spiral, like,
okay, that is the symbol of life. That is life. Just that is spoken like that's the solfeggio frequency. And the energy just getting, sorry, here, I want to show you something just to give you an idea, because I know I took some screenshots of this book that I came across. And of course because I'm on airplane mode.
Because you're going around searching up too many things. You lose track of where all your screenshots are. You need like to create like subfolders.
Oh, I have. I've been quite diligent with this.
So they said they found the Ark of the Covenant in Iraq.
Yes.
What you're saying.
Well, that's why they went to Iraq, apparently.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about.
I mean, I'm sure there was more than one thing than just that.
So this is cymatics.
Yeah. And
if you go this way, sorry, here. Okay, so this, for example, it says Z-DNA. This is the metronome.
Okay.
It's also the heart chakra. See the symbol on my neck? This is a frequency, 432 hertz. Like if you were to go and I were to get water in a Tibetan sound bowl and I'm able to go and rotate it around at the right frequency, it'll give
432 hertz.
At 432 hertz, it'll give you this type of symbol in the water. Okay. The same thing is like if I go and I got sand on top of a piece of metal and I'm going and creating that resonance, the sand will create these types of symbols. So what I mean by that, when it goes and it starts spiraling and you really start to map out these sounds, where they go and how the energy, it's literally creating a staircase of amplification. So that's really how the heart, it's beautiful, no?
I don't know if you guys can see that properly, but something like that.
Mo, give us
looks
confirmation here.
Good. Yeah.
It's pretty cool, like really cool. Oh, here, this is perfect. This is a perfect one right here. Very simple.
Yeah, there you go. Right there.
Can you see that?
Yep. Give it a second. It'll zoom in eventually. Or focus on it anyway. Yeah, it might be too...
I think, that's just too washed out. Yeah.
Oh, well, whatever.
Thank God. Can that get in there? No. Right there?
Almost.
We'll have to have
it wants to focus on it, but
email it to me for the next podcast.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's really, really, really cool. Like it's essentially it's just cymatics and sacred geometry. And we have this all around us. Like our nature shows us this in everything. Just look at a leaf. It is geometrically perfect and imperfect at the same time. Because when it goes and it gets twisted and it's imperfect, or maybe it got, I don't know, a storm smashed and kind of, then it balances itself. It's kind of like what's beautiful about nature is that it's always finding that homeostasis. Balance is not something that once you've achieved it, the beauty of balance is that that it's ever changing. And it's kind of like, that's how I feel about like our choices in life. Our choices are what create that formula, and our formula dictate what's the outcome. You want a different outcome, change the formula.
Right.
So change your actions and you'll have a different outcome.
Absolutely.
You want a positive outcome, stop playing the victim, stop looking at yourself like a victim, and go out there and get what you deserve in the world, because it's the only person that's really stopping you is yourself. Yeah, really.
It's true.
And that's why with these vibrations, if you could start harnessing and believing like what good you are able to do, believe it or not, like you're a lot more powerful than you're led to believe. Now, if everybody knew this, do you know what? And we all came together, we can change the world easily 10 times over. But they don't want you to believe in you. And that's why society doesn't teach you how to fix yourself.
Who are they? Who are the theys that you refer to?
Well, the people that control the institutions, the associations, the accreditations, the entire system. People that control the money system too, that make you slave for money, to think that you got to pay for stuff. You don't need to pay for anything. If everybody decided, hey, you know what? Here in Canada, we don't pay for shit. We're done. Money is a fake construct. We don't want to participate in this anymore. I think people would still get fed. There's going to still be people that want to cook and feed people. There's going to still be people that want to fix things and build things. There's still going to be people that want to cure people and help people. So how is the society different? It's just that they're making you believe that you need money in order to have this. And that is incorrect. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, well, we know that, but it's the problem is that it gets a lot more complicated than that, right?
In what way? Who's allowed to go on a plane ride? I believe every Canadian should be able to go on a plane ride once a year. Okay.
On whose dime, though? At the end of the day,
no. Whose dime? We all are contributors to the system. If we all contribute, we can have the exact same things that we have right now, and you can take away money. You don't need it.
But there's still an exchange at the end of the day.
Always exchange.
Right.
There's an exchange of energy. There's an exchange of time. There's an exchange.
So money in reality is just the valuation of the exchange. It just makes the exchange simpler. It makes the transaction process.
It's what they use to validate the transaction. What I'm saying is, if you take that away, you can choose. Let's get back to bartering. Because you got so many.
That's still technically the same thing, right? So I understand what you're saying. I get it. It's just the process, the idea of money, so long as it's valued on something realistic, like it used to be valued based on gold, which is a realistic commodity. Now it's not really balanced on. Now it's not really based on that, because then it's switched to the petro. Right, which is gas, oil, those types of natural resources.
Who makes these decisions?
But the problem is that they've manipulated it was a decision made based on everybody cohesively.
We have one of the only federal public reserves. Let me repeat that. We Canadians have one of the only public federal reserves.
Hang on a second. Money existed before the Federal Reserve existed,
absolutely.
Correct? Okay. And it worked. Did it not work at one point in time? We manipulated it based on power and greed and who wanted to get what they wanted.
That's all it was.
Right? That's what I'm talking about. So it's not that money is inherent. So when all these people talk about, we should just get rid of money and just go back to the bartering system, I agree to a point, but it overly complicates things, because Then let's say you do get these people who are greedy and bad people. So let's say hypothetically, you're a plumber and I'm an electrician, and we're living in a society with no money whatsoever.
If you don't do any good
right?
for society, then you should not be reaping the benefits. That's how you should flex the power.
Yes, okay, but that's okay. But see, that this is the problem though, because we don't know that there are too many people on the planet. I'm not saying too many people, hypothetically. I'm just saying too many people to keep track of who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. So I'm just going to give you as an example. So let's say you're the plumber and I'm the electrician. You're the good guy, I'm the asshole. So let's say
Why is the electrician the asshole?
I don't know. I'm just speaking hypothetically. I'm just giving you as an example. So this is why the barter system in the current state of society that we have is too complex. It would be very difficult to completely refine the entire system altogether. Not that we can't make the current system we have better. We can. It's just been manipulated to the point where a lot of people are seeing it as it's gone too far. I don't agree with that either. However, let's say you're the plumber, I'm the electrician. So let's say I need my toilet fixed and you need a socket in your house. So you come to me and say, listen, I'll fix your toilet if you fix my socket. So I say, okay, do my socket for me, and then next week I'm going to come to your house. Or sorry, do my toilet for me because you're the plumber. So you're going to do my toilet for me today, and then next week I'm going to come and do the socket.
Yep.
Right? And you're like, okay, sounds good. So you, as the good guy, uphold the agreement. You come and you fix my toilet. And then next week I fuck off and you never see me ever again and you never get your socket fixed. That's right. That's the problem with going back to the barter system. Whereas the simple exchange, the simple transaction with the valuation of money, right? Not that I'm agreeing with you to the sense where it's been manipulated to the point where it's all the money system's fucked, right? We know that, right? The Federal Reserve's fucked that whole idea up. We know that.
Even the IMF, look at what they did to Jamaica.
We know that. But it's just simpler based on the valuation of money to say, listen, you come to fix my toilet, I give you $100, and then when I come to fix your socket, you give me the $100.
So you're using that note to validate or to
yes, because the monetary note still has value at the end of the day.
Basically, you're using that to harness the value.
It's economics. It's the exchange of goods and services.
In war, in like during war times, when everybody was supposed to have certain rations for certain things, how did people got in the smaller towns? They were able to help each other out because it wasn't such a big city in regards to rations. So you're able to kind of like, here, you know what? Everybody's supposed to get one loaf of bread, but right now I know so and so's sick. I think maybe he might need it or she might need it. That's
the concept of small town living, though. You're living in a small community where it's very community based, very family based. A lot of people are generally religious. Would it work in New York City?
But why not? Why not?
Because I understand why not.
It's
but
subsection, right? Because it's subsection in all these little boroughs that then are kind of like these micro communities. So really, it is the exact same. The ant farm is literally a reflection of a bigger version. If we keep the morals and we keep what is good and we implement it and create
I totally get it.
Process like policies and procedures to reflect that and keep that. The whole problem with society is right now it's not set up in a way to benefit the everyday person. It's not there to benefit anybody except for how can I put it, the elites.
And the rich and powerful.
That's why the rich get richer. It's really easy.
That's not because of the existence of money or monetary notes. That's because of the existence of people are evil, they're greedy,
so the laws are reflective.
They manipulate the system Because if one day, let's say we decide to create this whole system, do you really think that creating the system that you're talking about is going to completely bypass? So when they did do bartering and everything,
it's not going to get rid of evil. Yeah. It's not going to get rid of
greed.
Yeah. So we're going to have these things that are always going to be evident.
It just exists in a different sense.
Yin and yang. There's always a little bit of black in the white in the black, or evil in the light, and or like in the good. So we're not going to be able to escape it, or nor will it be completely eradicated. But it's more like, if people are educated, then they know better, right? So then you're able to identify that as being bad. And what I'm saying is, even though we're not going to get rid of all the bad, but if everybody, like at one point people are going to get fed up with stuff going the way it is right now, and there's going to be a huge shift to being good, where being good is actually looked at as something more ethical. Not even that, it's cool. It's kind of like in the hippie days, peace, love, man, or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Now you look at them and they all sound,
man. No more war, man.
A whole bunch of stoners and this and that. No, but those people were free and liberated in so many different ways. But there's still a bunch of shit that was happening in the background. Because it's not like the wolves stop, Right. And the hungry wolves, they got to eat. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think there's different ideas of how to correct things, so to say, right? So it's not like getting rid of the monetary system is going to solve all our problems. Oh, well, if we just go back to living off the land and whatever is going to solve all our problems. It really doesn't. It solves your problems.
I don't want to get rid of the infrastructure. I want to get rid of some of a lot of the rules.
Right. The rules. So you're talking about the manipulation is what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think we're agreeing on that point.
And do rules that inhibit that manipulation. So this way, what people are doing and their actions are a benefit to society.
Of course.
If you're not doing anything to benefit society, then...
So what I think you're saying ultimately is screw the government, fight the power, right?
Yeah.
Get rid of these politicians, get rid of these
the system has to be
governments that are way too large. Right? We need to get back down to the basics of for the people, by the people sort of concept and idea. And that's the way that we start. So I think how we do that is by kind of like, you're all good. Went down the wrong tube.
I feel like a dry throat, but we've been at it for a few hours now. I just looked at it and looked at the time. I'm like,
I know it's getting a little bit late, but just the last point. But I guess the way that we fix that is by continuing to communicate, right? I mean, for us, this is new. If more people try and do things like this and stop being afraid of talking, right? And being brave, which is kind of, the name of the podcast,
great name,
right? Not being afraid of, YouTube censoring us and all that stuff, then we might actually start to really see a difference. And I think it's happening. I think it's really starting to happen, sort of like how we said COVID is kind of like a blessing in disguise, right?
Absolutely. So, say you were to get rid of government, like as we know it right now, and say you had a questionnaire that went out to every single Canadian that asked all the same things. And over there, you had every single question that you could possibly think of on there, and everybody participates and puts what they would like over there. And then whoever the majority is for that particular topic, at least you have an idea, direction that the populace would like to go. You know what's beautiful about that?
Yeah, that's populist, but that's not always the correct way to go, though, because that's why, in my opinion, Canada has a much more difficult time when it comes to how we govern ourselves than the US does. And the reason why is because we are a democracy, whereas they are a constitutional republic, right? We don't believe entirely in our constitution, and I think that's a whole other can of worms.
We need another podcast for that one.
Right. Like I have, the books over there.
I'm excited. We should talk about that one.
We'll definitely have another one today. I know you got to go, so that's why I'm kind of just trying to.
I just want to say this in 51 minutes.
Oh yeah, so it is Mo's. By the time this goes up, it'll be like
It'll be Mo's birthday.
after.
So happy birthday, Mo, when this comes out.
Mo will be
I love you, brother.
55 years
55,
old by the time this.
in the next 51 minutes.
But
You look fantastic, brother.
Thank you.
So everybody write happy birthday Moshi in the chat, and go and subscribe to him as a birthday gift as well on his YouTube channel. All the links and everything will be down in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed this random conversation about a multitude of different topics.
I like this one. It was nice.
This was
Thank
fun.
you.
I appreciate you guys so much, man. Thank you for having me as a guest. That's like,
love you, brother.
I know
Thank you so much.
It was short notice, but look at the beautiful things we talked about.
Right? We made it
beautiful.
happen.
Yeah,
so,
thank you so much. Thank you.
You guys are awesome, man. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate it.
All right. So, that's pretty much it. Smash the like button. Again, subscribe if you're new. Turn notifications on. And we will see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.